On Thursday the 3rd of October, just earlier this month, a 28-year-old Broadway actor named Zelig Williams mysteriously disappeared from his family home in Columbia, South Carolina, and hasn't been seen since. Shortly after he left, one of his friends received an SOS signal from his cell phone which was reporting that Zelig had crashed his car. But strangely, when the police were finally able to track down the vehicle a few days later, the car was discovered in near perfect condition, abandoned on the Palmetto Trail near the Congaree National Park. Upon further inspection, the police were also able to uncover several items that belonged to Zelig, which led the investigators to theorize that he may have been forced to abandon his vehicle. However, despite conducting numerous searches across the vast remote area, alongside the efforts of his family who have been pleading with the public for help, after 3 weeks of investigating, there has still been no sign of the missing performer, which has understandably led the public to wonder, what really happened to Zelig Williams? And why do so many people of colour continue to go missing in recent times? Zelig Williams was born in the year 1996 in the city of Columbia, South Carolina, where he grew up alongside his close-knit and loving family. From a young age, Zelig was always drawn to dance and performance, where he developed a true passion for theatre early on, performing in a school production of The Wizard of Oz as a child. Not too much else is known about his childhood, but it was clear from an early age that Zelig had an immense talent and ambition which he demonstrated in every performance. So, after graduating from the University of South Carolina, he then decided to pursue a career as a professional dancer, where he managed to land prominent roles in major productions as a rising star within the Broadway community, including many well-known shows such as Hamilton or MJ the Musical. However, despite his meteoric rise into the world of Broadway, this seemingly perfect life appeared to be causing strain on Zelig's mental state, as he would strangely decide to return home to Columbia, which marked a significant transition in his life. According to his family, Zelig had reportedly taken a step back from his career to focus on his faith, as he had been struggling with a number of issues that needed attention. But during this period of rest, an event would eventually take place that would send shockwaves throughout the entire Broadway community, when Zelig would mysteriously disappear on that fateful day in October. On Thursday the 3rd of October, the 28-year-old professional dancer was last seen leaving his South Carolina home, where he had been temporarily living with his family after deciding to leave his career behind in search of a spiritual awakening. According to his family, Zelig had left the house that day without giving any indication of his whereabouts or plans, so as hours continued to pass by with no contact, his family began to grow concerned, knowing that it was unusual for Zelig to simply go off the grid without informing anyone. However, the situation would soon escalate further when that very same day an SOS signal was sent from Zelig's phone to a friend in New York, which stated that he had been in a car accident, understandably raising further concerns towards his absence. The signal reportedly originated from the Palmetto Trail near the Congaree National Park, a large forested area just outside of Columbia, making his already disturbing disappearance even more alarming. So, in response to this harrowing update, his family reached out to as many friends as they could and searched for possible signs of where he might have gone. But despite their immense efforts to track down Zelig, they were unfortunately met with silence, as nobody was able to verify seeing Zelig that day or even comment about what could have happened to him. And to make matters even worse, calls to Zelig's phone were now going straight to voicemail, indicating that it was either turned off or out of service. So, fearing the worst, his family decided that they had no other option but to call the local police to officially report Zelig Williams as missing. On Friday the 4th of October, the Richland County Sheriff's Department received a call from a devastated family who were becoming increasingly concerned by their loved one's absence. According to them, Zelig had not been in touch since leaving home the day before, and it was highly unusual for him to go without communication for such an extended period. They mentioned how his phone had been turned off a few hours after sending out an SOS signal the previous day, leading them to believe that something could be seriously wrong. So in response to their pleas for help, the police quickly opened an investigation into his disappearance and began conducting interviews with his family and those close to him. Given that his phone's SOS signal had been traced to an area near the Congaree National Park, officers immediately started combing through local surveillance footage and cell phone data to try and establish Zelig's last known movements. And fortunately, it didn't take too long before the police managed to discover Zelig's car abandoned near a remote section of the Palmetto Trail close to the national park. And after inspecting the vehicle, they found a number of items which belonged to the missing young man. This development then led to a large-scale search operation involving law enforcement, search and rescue teams and local volunteers. Search dogs and drones were also deployed to cover the dense forest in the hopes of finding clues as to Zelig's whereabouts. However, despite their efforts, after several days of searching, there were still no immediate signs of Zelig in the area where his car was found. So with nowhere else to turn, the police then decided to hold a press conference to appeal for more information from the public, emphasizing that Zelig's disappearance was highly unusual and that his family were desperate for answers. But it wouldn't be long before another massive update to the story would soon hit the media, which would cause the police to increase their efforts out of fear that Zelig may have been in serious danger. On Wednesday the 9th of October, it was revealed to the public in a press conference that Zelig had not only left his family home that day without telling anybody where he was going, but that he had also decided not to take his medication with him, meaning that he was more than likely in a very vulnerable state. According to his family, Zelig had been taking the medication for a mental health issue, and so without it, he would have been left disoriented, leading to concerns that he may have wandered into the dense forest and gotten himself lost. However, to make matters even more harrowing, the police also revealed during the press conference that they were not ruling out foul play, as this behaviour was very much unlike Zelig, and therefore it was possible that he was lured out to the Palmetto Trail by somebody who had ill intentions. But with little to no hard evidence to back this theory up, for now the community are trying to stay positive that it will only be a matter of time before Zelig is found alive. And so, until then, the police will continue to do everything they can to find him, before it's too late. Now, unfortunately, as far as the official investigation goes, this is all we know for now. But despite these rather bleak circumstances, Zelig's family are refusing to give up hope, as after all, there is still every chance that he could turn up safe. There has also been an increase in media attention around the case after the famous Hollywood actor Hugh Jackman took to social media to plead with the public for help, as the pair had actually worked together in 2019 on one of his shows, meaning that he was able to raise the profile of the case to his millions of followers. However, despite these positive updates, given that Zelig Williams has now been missing for over 3 weeks, alongside the incredibly concerning details of his case, I can't help but feel that the likelihood of his safe return is only growing weaker as the days pass. So with that, let's get into some of the potential theories. Now, just before I dive into the theories themselves, I just wanted to express my deepest sympathies to Zelig's family, as I can only imagine the immense pain and worry that they must be feeling in this difficult time. I also feel it's important to mention that given the many unknowns and the emotional nature of this situation, it's so important to be respectful when discussing potential explanations for what might have happened to Zelig. Some of the following theories have been shared by his family, law enforcement or the media, but I still want to stress that these theories are purely speculative at this moment in time, as so far in the case, no concrete evidence has been uncovered that definitively points to any one scenario. But with that being said, one possibility that could have a potentially positive outcome is that Zelig may have voluntarily disappeared due to personal reasons. This theory has been discussed due to some significant changes in his life, such as his decision to leave his role on Broadway for religious reasons and move back home to South Carolina. Additionally, there are also some major concerns about his mental health, as Zelig was not taking his prescribed medication at the time, and some people have raised the idea that Zelig may have intentionally walked away or become disoriented during a mental health crisis. However, his family doesn't entirely buy into this theory, as they've made it clear that it's unlike Zelig to suddenly stop communicating with them, especially after an SOS signal was sent from his phone. His loved ones have acknowledged his mental health challenges, but they still believe something more serious might have happened, as it just doesn't align with his usual behaviour to vanish without any sign or message. What's interesting here is that there were no signs of an accident or a struggle found near Zelig's car, which leaves room for the possibility that he may have just wandered off, perhaps during a moment of distress. But once again, I must remind you that we don't have any hard evidence to confirm this, and it's also worth noting that some of his personal belongings were left behind, which could suggest that whatever happened, it might not have been a planned long-term disappearance. So even if this theory is proven to be true, there are still no assurances that Zelig will necessarily turn up safe, which is why it's so important that we continue to spread awareness of his case. But if for argument's sake, Zelig's disappearance is not related to his mental health struggles, another theory which I've seen being mentioned online is the possibility that he might have had an accident while exploring the Palmetto Trail, given that his car was discovered near Congaree National Park. It's not uncommon for people to visit that area for hiking or outdoor activities, so it would make sense that Zelig could have been out there on his own. The SOS alert that came from his phone shortly after he disappeared does seem to support this idea, as it might have been a distress signal from someone in trouble. However, it's important to note that while this theory has been floated around, there hasn't been any concrete evidence found to back it up. Authorities have combed through the surrounding areas, including difficult to reach spots along the trail, but it's a large and heavily wooded area, so searching it thoroughly is a huge challenge. Another thing to keep in mind is the rugged terrain and wildlife in that part of the park. People in the community, as well as those following the case in the media, have pointed out how easy it would be for somebody to become lost, injured, or worse. But while I can't say for sure if this theory is accurate, it's one that many have considered as a possibility, even though nothing definitive has come from it yet. Which would be the same case for this next theory, which covers the idea that foul play could have been involved in Zelig's case, a theory which is especially popular among law enforcement and media outlets. And it's not too surprising to see why. The situation does certainly raise significant questions, particularly because Zelig's car was discovered abandoned in a remote location he rarely visited, and his sudden disappearance following an SOS signal is also very alarming. But to add further fuel to this theory, another point that is being made by the public is that there is a distinct lack of clear physical evidence suggesting an accident. And due to these circumstances, reports show that police are investigating any possible interactions Zelig may have had in the lead-up to his disappearance. In addition, to add further credibility to this theory, Zelig's family is understandably troubled by the notion of foul play, with his aunt in particular voicing her opinion about the unusual circumstances surrounding his disappearance, indicating that if foul play was indeed involved, this would imply that the perpetrator acted quickly and left minimal traces, which is why investigators are approaching this angle with absolute caution. However, the fact of the matter is, until more physical evidence comes forward which points to a potential car crash or a struggle of some kind, we will never know for sure about what happened that day. But with the little evidence that has come forward so far, perhaps this could be because Zelig isn't in any danger at all, and in fact, some people believe that there's a possibility that he could have chosen to disappear for personal reasons. Now, as I've already stated, there are several different theories floating around which speculate on what could have happened to Zelig Williams, but during my research there was one theory in particular which stuck out to me, which suggests that he may have been undergoing a significant personal transformation after recently leaving his role in MJ the Musical for more than just religious reasons. This career shift immediately sparked speculation that it could have influenced his decision to vanish that day, as he may have been struggling with his identity, leading to some impulsive decisions. However, to this day, this theory remains completely unsubstantiated by his family, as in their opinion, there is simply no clear evidence to suggest he would ever abandon his life so suddenly and mysteriously. In fact, Zelig's family have been emphasizing that he regularly communicated with them and that it would be highly out of character for him to leave without any explanation. But despite these statements from the family, some members of the public continue to speculate that Zelig might have been trying to distance himself from his past life, and therefore may have gone into hiding to start fresh. However, although this theory would allude to a much happier ending, I can't help but feel that this one is a long shot, especially given that law enforcement continues to explore all possibilities with no definitive explanations emerging around why Zelig left his home that day. So in summary, based on the statements from the police, Zelig's family and the media, it would seem that the leading theories in this case currently include a mental health crisis, an accident, or even foul play, with abduction and personal transformation also being discussed. But until we have further information from the investigating officers, for now we can only continue to pray and help spread awareness of this case, with the hopes that by doing so, it will lead this grieving family to a happy ending, where they can be reunited with their loved one, once and for all. Anyway, on that note, I think I'll leave this video here. But as always, if you have any other theories of your own which you think may help explain what really happened to Zelig Williams, please leave your ideas in the comments down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. I also wanted to take a quick moment to apologise for the lack of videos in recent weeks. As I mentioned before, I was forced to take a few videos down due to families being upset, and it really seems to have damaged the reach of my channel. To be completely honest, I did consider shutting it down at one point, as these incidents have really made me question the future of this channel and if these videos are actually helpful to the families. On a slightly unrelated note, I also discovered that a fellow YouTube channel had been stealing the scripts for my videos, and after being ignored by YouTube multiple times, it honestly made me start to lose faith in the platform. But due to the overwhelming support you guys have shown in my absence, I decided to come back, as I didn't realise just how much these videos meant to you and the missing person community. So despite the potential setbacks that we may face, I have chosen to soldier on with the channel, and I hope I can continue to count on your support going forward. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and if you found the case of Zelig Williams interesting, make sure to subscribe to the channel and feel free to check out the playlist on screen now, which features a number of similar cases that involve young people of colour in recent years.